It's Tuesday, July 7th. In the headlines, the government says a modular housing program now underway. In business news, AI task force to explore job losses at BPOs. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's tourism push, $1.7 billion industry target set for 2030. And in sports Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange pays tribute to the late Stephen Francis. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The government says work has now begun on its modular housing program. In a statement, Minister with responsibility for land titling and settlements, Robert Montague, said the project had been in the site assessment and procurement phases. He says construction and assembly activities began last week and are progressing.
I can confirm that the work on the basis for the containerized housing solution has commenced. Work started last week in Western Jamaica, and as the minister that has oversight, I was scheduled to go down last Wednesday to actually do a launch, but I had some other commitments that came up suddenly, and we have scheduled to go later this week, and the members of the media and the public will be advised because we have other announcements to make with regards to that project.
The statement follows criticism from opposition spokesman on housing and sustainable living, Senator Floyd Morris, who accused the government of failing to distribute the containerized units earmarked for hurricane-affected residents. Approximately 1,500 modular houses are in Jamaica. The government says an additional 1,000 units are to arrive on the island by the end of this month. There have been concerns about students' use of artificial intelligence in the classroom and whether it is negatively affecting cognitive development. CEO of One-on-One Educational Services, Ricardo Allen, says artificial intelligence, AI, is being used by both teachers and students in the classroom. Speaking on a JIS Get the Facts program, he says teachers should embrace the use of AI and seek ways to ensure students' guided autonomy in its use.
People are naturally going to find the easiest way to get things done. Your brain is an energy-saving mechanism. The reason I mention that is very simple. If you give them the tool that can do things faster and much better and easier, they're going to use it. So we can't stop people from using AI. Right. That's the point I'm making. You can't stop the teacher, you can't stop the child, you can't stop the parent. Right. The question is, how do we allow them to use it, but use it in a way that preserves thinking?
Some educators and analysts believe that over-reliance on AI to do the work can cause cognitive decline and academic fraud. The impact depends on balancing these dualities. But how do we do that in a classroom?
Your job is not just to give an assessment and mark it whether someone got it right or wrong. In fact, the research tells us that for an assessment to be valid, is not whether you got it right or wrong, but can you infer information from it?
The reasoning ability.
Absolutely.
Mr. Allen says if a student cannot explain their response to an assignment, then the assessment is invalid or incomplete.
How do you counter that? Well, I'll give you an example. Instead of giving a child an essay to go home and write and come back, one way to do it, for example, is to give a child a task to go home and argue with the AI on a position. The position could be World War II was economically necessary. Right. And your job is to back the AI in a corner and come back with the evidence.
According to the educator, teachers should be creative about how they present an assignment and how it is graded. Caribbean nations united in a powerful display of hope and resilience for the 4th Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light affiliated Peace Walk. Hundreds of young people, community leaders, and police officers across the region took to the streets simultaneously in Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, Haiti, St. Kitts, St. Vincent, Antigua, St. Lucia, and Montserrat. It was an inspiring call for unity, youth engagement, and peace amid ongoing social challenges. Marlon Samuels was at the march in Kingston, Jamaica, and he filed this report.
In Kingston, despite an ongoing curfew in Almond Town due to recent violence, participants gathered to send a clear message: peace is possible when we come together.
Well, my team and I decided to be a part of this march today, because we thought it to be very important, right? We understand it is all about peace and spreading peace in the community of Almond Town. And as police officers, we are also tasked to protect, reassure, and ensure that peace prevails across all communities that we serve. And so we believe that it is quite important, and it was apt that we participate in an initiative such as this.
Organized by the International Peace Youth Group in partnership with HWPL, UNESCO Jamaica, and local authorities, the Caribbean-wide initiative emphasizes regional cooperation and social cohesion.
We believe that as a young leaders organization whose founding principle is that on promoting world peace, the HWPL organization that promotes world peace, we thought that with both of our mandates being same, it is good for us to be a part of this work. And as this year being the year of the youth, it also means that as young people, we are to stand on the forefront of world peace and to promote world peace and to maintain peace in all its forms.
We spoke with Terry Salmon from Yard Empire. Yard Empire mentors at-risk youth, especially young men. The organization uses the arts, sports, and recreation to build self-worth and reduce crime.
We have been doing this because we do realize that peace begins with each and every one of us. Peace begins with our youth, with the family. And as you would have seen here with me are my youth that I have been encouraging, teaching them about gender-based violence, sexual harassment, how to prevent it. Because what's been happening in our community is a lot of domestic violence in the home, a lot of gender-based violence. And so when you teach the children what it is and how to prevent it, then they would be the generational change.
Superintendent of Police in charge of the Kingston Central Division, Mishka Farbs, highlighted the positive impact the Peace March, which is in its fourth staging, is having.
We have seen where it does make a difference in the lives of those who decide to participate in the march, right? Because the message that we bring, that we try to spread, is that it is important that persons maintain the peace, shun violence and violent activities, choose a better way of life within the communities.
According to President of JCI, Jamaica, Markland Bedward, the Peace Walk demonstrates that young people have a voice and can drive positive change.
We cannot absolve ourselves from peacemaking. We have to be a part of it. We cannot be bystanders of the peace that we want in this world. Jamaica and Jamaica at large will benefit from this because we believe that once we can have peace, we can have safer families, safer places to work, safer places to do business as well.
One Caribbean! As the region continues to face social challenges, this movement reminds us all that peace is achievable when we unite.
Because I believe that as Caribbean nations, sometimes we feel inferior or we don't have a voice in the space at the world table. However, we've had strong leaders in the Caribbean who are stepping up. Barbados comes to mind, and I believe that Jamaica and other countries can also look at that as an example. Because I believe that if we stand up, despite the consequences or repercussions, we stand together as a Caribbean, we believe that we can achieve that peace.
From Kingston to the Caribbean, hope is alive. For PBCJ News, I am Marlon Samuels. Remember, Peace begins with each of us.
And the best thing for the country right now is war going. And my kids and the kids them. But that want to know, peace, I can't war.
Pig tapeworm infection can pose serious health risks to humans when eggs of the parasite Taenia solium are ingested through food, water, or hands contaminated with human feces, allowing larvae to spread through the bloodstream and form cysts on different parts of the body. Let's learn more about this from the World Health Organization.
There is a tapeworm that uses humans and pigs as hosts. It hitchhikes in our gut, uses our food as nutrition, and is linked to seizures and epilepsy. It is called Taenia solium or pig tapeworm. Now, having this worm in your gut is gross, but that's not the real threat. It is when we ingest the eggs of this parasite and the larvae hatch inside our body, they go rogue, they get lodged in our brain, becoming the most common preventable cause of epilepsy. Here to unpack this unsettling but important public health threat is Dr. Bernadette Abella. Welcome, Bernadette. So let's talk about this tapeworm. How exactly does it affect humans?
The tapeworm itself just lives in the gut with you and doesn't really do very much. It is quite a few meters long, but most of the time people don't even know that they're infected with a tapeworm. If people ingest the egg and the cysts develop, they usually develop in the brain, and these cause severe symptoms like seizures or epilepsy or headache. This is what is called neurocysticercosis. Up to 70% of all epilepsy cases in endemic areas where the parasite is present is attributable to the pig tapeworm. And this means it is preventable. And also, we don't have very good data, but 2.5 to 8 million people are estimated to be affected with neurocysticercosis. So this problem is really a problem of bad hygiene and also bad food preparation practices.
Wait, so how exactly do we ingest the eggs?
So if people don't wash their hands after defecation, if they are using dirty hands to prepare food, and if untreated manure from human feces is used, then eggs can survive and we can then ingest these eggs.
So wait, are you saying that vegetarians could also get infected with this tapeworm?
Yes, vegetarians and people who don't eat pork are able to get infected with Taenia solium because of contaminated vegetables or cooking utensils, for example.
I remember when we were discussing the script, one of our experts, your colleagues, was also saying that they've seen vegetables stored in trains, in latrines, and that sounds like the perfect environment where
yes.
They can get infected, right? So talk to us about, is there a treatment for this?
There are treatments. One, it will depend whether it's the tapeworm that you're treating or the neurocysticercosis. The tapeworm can be diagnosed rather simply in primary healthcare facilities, and a specific dewormer can be used to remove the worm.
In the business report, AI task force to explore job losses at BPOs. We'll hear more about it and the movements in the financial market from Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. The government has established a task force to examine the operations of Jamaica's business process outsourcing BPO sector amid concerns about job losses and the growing impact of artificial intelligence. Labour and the Social Security Minister, Pernell Charles Jr., says the task force will engage stakeholders across the industry, which currently employs nearly 60,000 people. Speaking to RJR News, Minister Charles was responding to questions about the loss of 9,200 jobs in the sector between April 2025 and April of this year. He stressed that the purpose of the task force is not to criticize the industry, but to work with operators to develop strategies that will help workers adapt to emerging technologies. According to the minister, the focus will be on ensuring employees become more compatible with artificial intelligence, allowing the technology to enhance productivity rather than displace workers. Data released by the Bank of Jamaica show that foreign direct investment inflows to Jamaica have fallen from almost US $900 million in 2017 to US $283.2 million last year. There was a slight recovery in the following years before rising to US $429 million in 2023. However, the Bank of Jamaica data shows renewed weakness thereafter, with inflows slipping to $283.2 million US last year. The decline comes even as Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio improved significantly, moving from about 121% in earlier years to around 68% more recently. For the trading period of July 7, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Elite Diagnostic Limited with 31,538,389 units, representing 58.43% of market sales activities. Omni Industries Limited with 5,570,966 units, representing 10.32% of market sales activities. Jetcon Corporation Limited with 4,340,737 units, representing 8.04% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in medical services and distribution plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for July 7, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $158.25 and buying at $157.54. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $2.40 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $112.70 and was bought for $110.30. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $4.87 in profits for the bank. The British pound sold for $209.33 and was bought for $204.33. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, is the rising cost of living quietly damaging your credit score? As the cost of groceries, utilities, housing, and transportation continues to rise, many people are turning to credit, not to build wealth, but simply to maintain their standard of living. This shift has a hidden consequence: declining credit scores. When everyday expenses are financed with credit, customers often carry higher credit card balances, larger percentage of their available credit, and make only minimum payments. Plus, they apply for additional loans or credit cards. They experience cash flow challenges that can lead to late payments. These behaviors increase the risk perceived by lenders and can lower your credit score, making future borrowing more expensive. That said, the goal is to protect your credit. So the best thing to do is pay something, if not everything, on time. Payment history is one of the most important factors in your credit score. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, Trinidad and Tobago is targeting a significant expansion of its tourism sector, with plans to increase the industry's contribution to GDP to US $1.7 billion by 2030. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, Abigail Bonneau, says achieving that goal will require significant growth in several niche tourism markets.
As you are aware, tourism was not serious in Trinidad and Tobago. It was serious everywhere else in the Caribbean. Tourism drives or is the mainstay of mostly all of the Caribbean islands, with the exception of Trinidad and Tobago.
Tourism is being positioned as the key pillar of Trinidad and Tobago's economic diversification strategy. Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, Abigail Bonneau, says government has set an ambitious target for the sector's growth over the next several years.
But tourism is earmarked for diversification. We are aiming to increase the contribution of tourism to GDP to US $1.7 billion by 2030. Now, that's a big jump from where we are, and it will require great strides.
She said the ministry has already identified 6 priority areas for development, including yachting and marine services, ecotourism, health tourism, business conferences, cultural tourism, and sports tourism. She noted that the yachting service alone presents significant opportunities for revenue generation.
On average, the yacht that comes to Trinidad and Tobago and does services in the Chaguaramas area can spend US $30,000. We are about 500 for the year. We're looking to double that. And of course, we're looking to double that in next year because that's where the business is.
Ms. Bine also highlighted the country's competitive advantages in ecotourism.
The average tourist, eco-tourist, spends 4 times more than the normal tourist when they do ecotourism. What does Trinidad have as a competitive advantage? Birds. And believe you me, those bird tourists are spending money. You need to just look at what Asa Wright is, what kind of business they bring in.
Medical tourism is another area the government intends to pursue, with plans aimed at attracting overseas patients.
Still in the Twin Island Republic, the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus has signed 2 memoranda of understanding aimed at strengthening healthcare delivery, research and training. This is being done through new partnerships with the Northwest Regional Health Authority and the Princess Elizabeth Home for Handicapped Children Association.
2 new memoranda of understanding have been signed by the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, the Northwest Regional Health Authority and the Princess Elizabeth Home for Handicapped Children Association to enhance collaboration in healthcare, research and training. The agreements will create internship and graduate trainee opportunities for engineering students, expand clinical training for dentistry students, and support collaborative research in biomedical engineering, digital health, and healthcare infrastructure. Dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences at UWI, Professor Hariharan Sitaram, says the partnerships will also improve access to dental care for special needs patients while strengthening links between academia and the public health sector.
This one is being led by the Dental School of the Faculty of Medical Sciences through its special needs dentistry clinic and will provide dental care for special needs patients, clinical support and training at no cost to the patients once funding exists. We look forward to using the home's surgical theatre as much as possible to carry out these treatments.
Professor Sitaram says the collaboration reflects the university's commitment to building partnerships that extend beyond the classroom and address national development priorities. He says the initiatives are expected to improve healthcare delivery while creating practical opportunities for students and researchers.
It is our hope that one of the outcomes will be the development of these systems that boost the efficiency of our healthcare system. These plans fit into the broader objective of developing healthcare engineering solutions for Trinidad and Tobago public health sector. It's no exaggeration to say that the health sector, public and private, would benefit tremendously from these kinds of alliances, which can only bode well for the population. These two MOUs are well aligned to the university's commitment to building partnerships outside of academia to support both our students and external bodies in ways that enrich learning throughout our society.
In sports, we begin with football. Spain edged Portugal 1-0 in a tightly contested 2026 FIFA World Cup showdown to secure their place in the quarterfinals. Belgium also advanced in emphatic fashion, powering to a 4-1 win over the United States to book a meeting with Spain in the last 8. The results confirmed 2 heavyweight quarterfinal matchups, with Spain set to face Belgium and France preparing to take on Morocco later in the knockout stage. Norway and England had already secured their places in the quarterfinals following victories on July 5. On July 7, the round of 16 is set to conclude with Argentina taking on Egypt and Switzerland facing Colombia, with the winners advancing to complete the final quarterfinal pairing of the tournament. Jamaica is mourning the passing of legendary track and field coach Stephen Francis, with Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Minister Olivia Grange hailing his contribution to athletics as central to the country's rise on the global stage. In a statement, Minister Grange described Coach Francis as an exceptional and iconic coach whose work brought pride to Jamaica and transformed the lives of many athletes under his guidance.
He was a unique person who used his talents to bring glory to our country and to improve the lives of countless athletes who benefited from his guidance and tremendous expertise. Our country owes Stephen a debt of gratitude.
Minister Grange also highlighted his pioneering role in the development of the MVP Track Club, describing it as one of his enduring contributions to Jamaican athletics. On behalf of the government, she extended condolences to Francis's family, friends, colleagues, and the wider MVP team. The 2026 edition of Prime Minister's Cup in Barbados was recently launched at Hotel Indigo, Hastings, and this year's tournament has some historic milestones.
3 years in, and the Prime Minister's Cup has reached another milestone with the introduction of a women's competition alongside the men's tournament. The move reinforces Barbados' commitment to gender equality in sport, with both the men's and women's champions set to receive an equal $100,000 prize purse. Speaking at last evening's launch, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley urged female footballers to embrace the opportunity, describing the new competition as a significant step forward for the development of football in Barbados.
Now is the opportunity to be able to fuel development at the community level. When he spoke to me 6 weeks ago, he had 6 teams. Today, we have 8 and potentially 10. And I expect that before we start, we will have at least the 10, but I am issuing a challenge to the women of Barbados and to the girls of Barbados. Don't let the men say that we can even make half the number of teams that they had. So the men have 24 teams. Let us try to get to the 12. We also agreed that we're not playing 7-a-side for the women's. It has to be proper full football, because I look forward to the day of Barbados women playing in World Cup.
Also unveiled for this year's tournament was a suite of technological innovations aimed at taking the Prime Minister's Cup to a fully professional level. These include a dedicated website and companion mobile app.
That's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.